Welcome to Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. High Point Raceway is the site of the AMA Toyota Motocross Championship presented by FMF. It's Motocross Lites, the 30th annual Kawasaki Monster Energy High Point National, and it is our second weekend of racing here in the 2006 season. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Drever, along with David Pingree and Aaron Bates, working for us down in the pits and paddock area. The crowd enjoying a hazy, hot, and beautiful afternoon for motocross racing here at one of the real high points, no pun intended, of the motocross season. The Coombs family has been doing this for a long time. A lot of moisture coming up out of the track early in the day, and conditions are nearly perfect. David Pingree, we should expect some good racing here in the Lites division.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times here at High Point you get rain. It's just that time of year, that region of the country where they get a lot of rain this time of year. So 9 times out of 10, High Point is a mutter. This weekend, blue skies, it's warm and humid, but the track is absolutely perfect, and it's going to be great racing. Going
across the starting gate, got a glimpse of the number 800 Michael Lessie, who went 1-1 to earn the motocross overall win at Hangtown and the points championship lead. Let's go back to a week ago and take a look at some of the highlights from Hangtown.
Michael Lessie was impressive. You know, he went 1-1 on the day. I think it surprised a lot of people, but Mike's actually been working on that for over a year now, just learning the tracks last year, went through his rookie season learning curve, and got wins along the way, was actually competing for the championship at the final round. So it shouldn't have been that big a surprise to people.
Michael Lessie atop the points table, a tie for second position between the Australians McFarlane and Metcalf. Let's go to Michael Lessie with Aaron Bates.
Since I turned a professional, I've never been in the points lead at all, so this is my first time, and it feels pretty good. You know, it's I'm not really chasing anybody. It's more like I'm just protecting my lead, and I mean, it's only the second round this weekend, so we'll see how it goes. You know, I'm just out there to win and, you know, keep patting that points lead.
Well, Michael Lessie with a 1-1, it's going to be hard to beat that, but he comes here with high hopes and expectations, and of course a lead in the championship.
Well, he nonchalantly says he's just there to win, so pretty high expectations.
Well, now he's not alone out there on the racetrack by any means. This Motocross Lites division is full of talent, not the least of whom might be Grant Langston, a former world champion. So Langston riding injured, a partial dislocated wrist. How are his chances?
With my personality, just not racing is probably hurts me more than the pain of riding. So, you know, I just love to be out there and, you know, give it 100%. And if it doesn't work out, I always say that, I gave it everything. You know, I did everything I could. You know, sometimes I have the team telling me, maybe you should just stay home one more week and there's another weekend off and you'll be fine. I'm like, no, I have a plane ticket, so that's my excuse. I already booked my plane tickets, I'll be there.
A couple of new faces, including Andrew McFarlane, podium a week ago and doing a great job. Let's go now to Aaron Bates for our Progressive Direct pre-race report.
He might be a new face here in America, but he's a very familiar name worldwide, and I'm talking about none other than last year's runner-up Moto MX2, Andrew McFarlane. Andrew, what a statement you made last weekend coming into the opening round. What did you find was the biggest difference racing here in America?
To be honest, you know, I think all tracks are different worldwide. You know, unless you're there, it's a totally different scene. And, you know, I think that the most thing that was different for me was, you know, probably the first 5 laps. I found that the guys just, you know, just went really hard and, you know, just took a lot of risks. And, you know, with being in Europe and stuff, I, you know, tend to just take it a little easier in the first few laps. And then, you know, I come on strong at the end. You know, I know that I'm fit enough to do the whole race. And, you know, I just had to work on the first 5 laps, and I did that during the week. So we'll see what happens this weekend.
Well, Michael Lessie comes in as the favorite in practice, of course. He was quick, a lot of the usual suspects, but a mix of names. Practice times not really a good indication from last week of who's going to win this week.
Yeah, that's right. You know, you've got guys like Troy Adams who struggled at Hangtown with some bike problems and different bad starts and crashes. Troy's on the fastest lap time this Sunday in the last practice session. So some of the guys that did great at Hangtown, maybe not necessarily the fastest times here. There you see Troy with 2:15. Ryan Villopoto, Grant Langston, Josh Grant, all those guys, quick times.
Here's a look at the racetrack. Different than a year ago, better by most people's standards.
Yeah, most of the riders like it. It is a little bit shorter than it has been in years past, maybe 15 to 20 seconds taken off of it, but it's down in the valley now where you can see the track, so it's much better for spectators and television.
Let's take a look at our Honda starting lineup. Michael Lessie at the top at the table there. Grant Langston, a guy to watch for, although his wrist is not 100%. And of course, we have some of the newcomers, including McFarland. But suffice to say, we should have a very, very good race here in the Lites Division class as we go to our second weekend of racing in the 2006 season. The starting gate is wide and it's full of talent, and they're off. Let's see who gets that Racer X Hole Shot award. Look at this. 40 guys scrambling for a turn that might only hold a half a dozen of them, and it's Michael Alessi who comes out with the lead. Or does he? No, he does not get the Hole Shot award. Instead, let's see, who is that? It's Gosselaar. Chris Gosselaar, son of Ricky Carmichael's mechanic, out in front of number 102 Kawasaki.
Well, Chris Gosselaar's got a famous family. His brother is Mark Paul Gosselaar from Saved by the Bell and NYPD Blue fame. So, and his father, as you mentioned, is Ricky Carmichael's mechanic. So he's got a lot to live up to. And pulled the Hole Shot now. He's doing it right now.
Well, Chris Gosselaar out in front right now. Behind him, it's the number 24 machine, Josh Grant, another outstanding youngster. And there's Alessi on the number 800, last weekend's overall winner and winner of both motos. So the top three, including some of the favorites for this race, although Gosselaar out in front has really surprised a few people, I think, not only by taking that Hole Shot, and I'm only saying a few people, but by leading this one as long as he has over the talent like Grant and Alessi right behind him.
Little Goose has always been a great starter. And he's had the speed all year, actually. In Supercross, he did great, landed on the podium just about every time. And while he did have a little foot injury that was slowing him down at Hangtown, he's got the pace here. You can see today he's running up front.
What a difference a week makes for Chris Gosselaar. And here comes Grant Langston, who had to withdraw from the races last week. But 1 week later, he's out here riding up in the top 5 or 6 at this point.
Yeah, a month ago, he partially dislocated his wrist in his throttle hand, which is incredibly painful if you've ever dislocated something. And he's just a trooper, man. Back up here trying to get points. Didn't get any at Hangtown, so I think he realizes if he doesn't get some good points today that he's got absolutely no hope for this title.
Well, I like the way he said the pain of not racing is greater than that of being out there hurt. And I guess that measures a true champion like Langston. 24, Josh Grant. Grant going past Gosselaar for the lead. Alessi's right there behind him, but we have a new leader, the number 24, Josh Grant, on his Sobe Honda.
That uphill triple that they just jumped there behind the starting gate used to only be doable on the 252 strokes back when it was 125 and 250 class. Now, the Lites class, as it's called, is all 254-stroke machinery. Guys are getting over it, no problem.
Early incident. Watch towards the right of your screen right there is the number 42, Tommy Hahn. Went down pretty hard, kind of deep in the field. He gets up looking at his bike, and more importantly, holding that right arm at kind of an odd angle there, obviously injured and out of the race.
Anytime you have a crash like that, you've got adrenaline pumping. If you can actually feel pain as soon as something happens, it's usually not a good sign. And there, Gosselaar's got something wrong. Looked like he twisted a foot or his ankle in those deep pockets there.
So we could have Chris Gosselaar out of the race, and significantly Tommy Hahn, teammate to the leader Josh Grant right now. Similar uniform, of course, both riding Sobe Samsung Mobile-sponsored Hondas. There's Langston on the number 8 machine. Looking in pretty good form for a man who's riding injured.
Yeah, most people after only a month of rehabilitating an injury like that wouldn't even be looking at a motorcycle, let alone running towards the front of a national.
Take a look at Gosselaar on the 102, jumping in the air right there, and he kind of disappears out of the picture, but then he disappears out of the race. And the word we're getting is that he stuck his foot in one of those deep ruts. And that should be what we're seeing pretty quick here.
Oh, yeah. Yikes.
Oh, and that hurt. So a rut caught his foot in an awkward angle there, and Gosselaar is traveling slowly around the racetrack while Josh Grant is still hauling the mail out front and riding hard.
You know, that's one of the downfalls. You know, all these race promoters, they like to have nice, soft, loamy soil. It holds moisture better so it's not dusty for the fans. It gives better traction for the riders, but in this instance, they bring in sawdust and wood chips and sand and loamy soil. It gets very rutted. It'll get deep, deep ruts, and as your suspension compresses into it, your foot pegs drop right to the ground level, and it can yank your foot off just like that, like we saw with Goose, and twist your foot or your knee around.
So Grant is leading over second place, Grant Langston. That is Josh Grant over Grant Langston. Alessi third. Going back a little bit deeper in the field, watching some good action here. Ryan Villopoto, who came into this one as one of the favorites, and could very well still be, but he's made his own job quite hard. Now he's racing against Mike Brown, and that's never easy.
You know, Mike Brown's been a championship contender for years in this class. He's actually a past national champion, so definitely a tough competitor. But Villopoto has been having the fastest lap times in some of these first 2 races and practices and qualifiers and things like that. So he's definitely got the leader's pace.
Take another look here as Villopoto and Brownie going after it.
That's a veteran move. Just went outside, set him up, cut inside of Brown, and Brown's got nowhere to go.
And we go back a little bit further and watch the Yamahas here. 6th place position being contested, and including Metcalf and McFarland. We'll be right back.
The quest.
Moto 1 Motocross Lites here at the 30th annual Kawasaki Monster Energy High Point National. Looking at Mike Alessi, winner a week ago at Hangtown, running in 3rd position. And there he is. We saw him out front a week ago. Here we got a couple of guys down and a little bit of pushing and shoving going on. That's Jason Lawrence in the 338 bike, and along with him is Martin Davalos, who makes his home in Cairo, Georgia, along with Davey Millsaps. Look at this.
It looks like Lawrence just went inside to make a pass, lost his front end, and Martin had nowhere to go, but straight into him. And Lawrence is known for kind of pushing and shoving and causing a little bit of a scene, so that's a typical move.
Davalos from Ecuador, now training with Davey Millsaps in Georgia. Here's Josh Grant, our leader in the number 24 machine. Deep ruts. There's Grant Langston right behind him, so a great challenge for the lead here between the former champion and one of the youngsters in this sport.
Well, Langston definitely knows how to get it done. He's won this championship before, and I think he's just going to hound Grant here till the end of the moto and try to make a pass with only a couple laps left. You know, don't give him a chance to get back by.
Well, he's hounding the leader, but being hounded by 3rd place Mike Alessi all at the same time. So the top 3 running pretty close together. It's a bit further back to 4th. A couple of waving yellow flags there. It's Langston trying to work his Kawasaki up to the leader, Grant. Josh Grant riding error-free thus far. Alessi, a little bit of wide line there, squirts off the corner. Track is really getting torn up quite a bit with all the action that has taken place here at High Point this weekend. Josh Grant, 19 years old, from Riverside, California.
Yeah, Josh is definitely one of the hot young kids coming up. He's recently re-signed with the Factory Connection Honda team for a multiple-year deal, so people see a lot of potential in him, and he's definitely got the talent and speed, as you can see, to win races.
2 Yamahas battling for 6th position. It is the number 123 Brett Metcalf. Joining him now, the number 53 Matt Gerke.
I think Gerke's got one of the coolest nicknames in the sport. The DMXS radio guys dubbed him Matt Beef Gerke. So I don't know if that doesn't put a smile on your face. I don't know what will.
Well, he's battling right now for 6th, along with the Boost Mobile Yamaha of Metcalf. And these 2 guys having a good side-by-side battle. Gerke getting the position there as we go back to the front now. Number 24, Josh Grant, still leading about the same distance over Grant Langston, who has about the same margin over number 800, Alessi.
Now, these guys both know about riding with injuries and riding through pain. And I think any racer, any motocross racer knows about that. You know, Grant's got a shoulder that he's still coming back from. Grant Langston has obviously a wrist problem. And, you know, they're doing maybe cortisone shots beforehand if it's real bad, or a lot of times you just get on the start line, the adrenaline will sort of mask some of that pain, and hopefully you don't have any jarring, you know, if you come up short on a jump or land in a hole. Those are the type of movements that'll really make that injury aggravated.
Well, even a perfect lap without anything unusual happening is still putting a lot of impact on the body. So riding hurt, yeah, you got to play hurt, as a famous author once said, but you know what, in motocross, playing hurt probably involves a lot of pain, and it's constant.
Yeah, it's just part of motocross. You know, you're going to have to ride with injuries.
Josh Grant augers in out of the lead. Langston takes over the number 2 spot. Alessi number 3. Grant gets going again. He's got his right sleeve up around his elbow there. And, boy, he just tipped it right over in a rut, and hopefully he's okay.
He's a little soft coming into that turn. The key there is that he kept it running. On these 4 strokes, they're so difficult to get started. You can lose 30, 40 seconds trying to get your bike restarted if you don't keep that clutch in, keep the wheel turning.
Well, we saw Josh Grant at Daytona tip over. Both riders kept their bikes running, got them up and kept going again. But now Langston's your leader, Alessi second. And remember, Grant Langston is riding with that injured wrist, which of course is going to get worse before it gets better. Take another look at Josh Grant.
Now his front wheel just popped up out of that rut. You can see it sort of on top of the rut. and it just washes out from under him.
So now Grant Langston, the former world and Motocross Lites champion, is your leader with Mike Alessi in second. And very similar to the motocross race on the big bikes, the leaders have run so hard that there's hardly anybody behind them. They don't really have to worry about much coming up from the back.
You know, oftentimes winning a race is just about attrition, you know, not letting it go. So far, two guys have had the lead and let it slip through their fingers.
Here's our Toyota leaderboard. We'll be right back. High Point Raceway, former leader Josh Grant back with Ryan Villopoto now. The man out front is Grant Langston, who inherited the spot when Grant augured in just a little while ago. So now he, instead of battling for the lead or holding the lead, he's battling for third position with Ryan Villopoto.
And Villopoto didn't get the best of starts. He's been working his way forward. So if Grant can't find the pace he had up front, he's going to find himself behind Villopoto.
So it's a podium position at issue right now for Josh Grant and Ryan Villopoto. Grant Langston, Mike Alessi out in front in the 1-2 spots. And Josh Grant, just with that small mistake, shows you how big even a small mistake can be. Villopoto, 17 years of age, another one of the bright young stars in this sport, making a name for himself in the Lites division before inevitably moving up to the big bikes.
Yeah, it's funny how he's, you know, the short, red-headed kid, rides a Kawasaki a lot like Ricky Carmichael was. Draws a lot of similarities, rides with a ton of heart, and just doesn't ever quit.
Right now, he's working on Josh Grant for third position through the whoops here at the High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, PA. Villopoto makes an easy move on the inside, and Grant can't come back. So Ryan Villopoto, who, as you said, didn't get the best of starts and has been moving forward, continues his march to the front, or does he? Villopoto on the outside loses the spot back again to Josh Grant.
Yeah, that's the best thing you can do. If a guy passes you, man, just get him right back. It definitely gets in their head and makes them have to work twice as hard to pass you again.
So Josh Grant on the red number 24 Honda, and Villopoto on the Kawasaki number 51. Third and fourth position at this time. Down the hill, up over the big jump. Very deep rutted turn right there. You practically have to park it. And now, one of the more dramatic sections of the High Point Raceway.
Oh, and there's Langston sitting in the turn.
Oh, Grant Langston with a problem. Yes, just parked in the turn. Take another look as third and fourth place come by.
You see Josh Grant kind of get kicked on that step down. You hear him panic revving. Villopoto just slips to the inside and gets him. But then he goes wide. I'm not sure why he went so wide in that turn, missed the main line. Grant just slips back by on the inside.
So Josh Grant through the inside, taking over the number 3 spot, but in fact, it turns out to be the number 2 position because Mike Alessi is your leader and Grant Langston is out of the race. Alessi almost threw it down.
The track's getting rutted. Like I said, the soft soil creates a lot of grooves and ruts, the turns, the jumps. You can see right there, there's different grooves coming off that jump into the next turn, so you really got to keep your focus.
Well, Mike Alessi from third to second, from second to first because of misfortune by the riders in front of him is now our leader. And Alessi going 1-1 a week ago at Hangtown is back where has picked up where he left off. Here's another look. There's Langston. Down he goes.
You can see that soil there in that turn. Real shiny and hard pack. It's just slippery. He comes in, just pushes the front end out. And right now, Mike Alessi just has made the fewest mistakes, and he's leading this race.
Now Ryan Villopoto in second position has left Josh Grant behind. So we've got a lonely first, a lonely second, and still some battles going on behind them. But Ryan Villopoto up in the number 2 spot very convincingly from a bad start.
Yeah, I talked to Mitch Payton last week about this kid, and he's just real excited. They're trying to get him locked down for an additional 3rd year on his contract that he's got. And, he just thinks he's a great kid, got a lot of talent, and sees him going places.
Mike Alessi definitely going places here today. Haven't picked up the number 1 position on the racetrack from misfortune to the 2 leaders, the 2 early leaders. First Josh Grant, then Grant Langston. And so here at 18 years of age, Mike Alessi in position to win his 3rd moto in a row to start the 2006 season.
Should start getting a running tally of how many times he pulls his hand off the bars here on his last laps. I think at Hangtown it was at least 20 or 30.
Just about every turn he pulled his clutch hand off, and every now and then even the throttle hand to wave at the crowd and enjoy himself on the final lap.
He likes doing the fist pumps. I guess this is going to make 3 in a row, so If he can continue to pull moto wins in like that, I guess he'll take his hand and do whatever he wants with it.
There is Ryan Villopoto in second position. Just ahead of him, Justin Brayton going the lap down. So Villopoto in the number 2 position, still concentrating on the job at hand. Here comes the checkered flag. First for Michael Alessi. Gets both hands in the air. To disguise his excitement over what's happening here in the AMA Toyota Motocross Championship at High Point Raceway. And now let's take a look at our Suzuki Moto results. Mike Alessi goes 3 in a row for the 2006 season, and the rest of the names that stacked up behind him will start in that order for moto number 2. Let's go to Aaron Bates.
Mike Alessi making it 3 for 3. Mike, you're back here at Mount Morris where you took the victory last year. Seeing a whole new patient side of you, what are you doing differently?
Just exactly like you said, just being patient and letting the race come to me. That's it.
Now you are the master of the starts. The start here, very technical one. How important is it to get a great start?
Yeah, it's important. Definitely, you know, it's pretty hot out here, and getting a good start always helps out. And my Dunlop tires working. I'm great.
Well, speaking of great starts, let's take a look at the Racer X Hole Shot Award. A little bit difficult to tell, and so who comes out with it? Michael Alessi.
Brian, you kind of got a little bit of a gift handed to you there. Riders were going down in front of you, making some rookie mistakes. You were able to hold it strong.
Yeah, for sure. It's really hot out here, and you know, it takes a lot of training to get ready for riding this stuff. And yeah, you know, some guys made some mistakes, and I capitalized on that.
Josh, you were able to take the lead there for most of the moto. What actually happened?
I came down this hill and hit a little choppy stuff and washed the front end out and dragged my foot behind me, and I twisted it. And it took me a little while to get up because it was hurting so bad. I didn't want to hurt it anymore, but I got up and tried to, you know, salvage some points for this weekend.
Now, nobody does more to protect your right to ride than the American Motorcyclist Association. Every racer on the track is an AMA member. How about you? Call 1-800-AMA-JOIN or visit AMADirectLink.com. The AMA, rights, riding, and racing. And a special feature now, Between Motos. It all started 26 years ago inside of a Husqvarna dealership Mitch Payton had bought after his own racing career left him in a wheelchair. The origin of the pro circuit business came from trying to figure out why Huskies were slower than their Japanese competition. So, his original goal was simple: make Husqvarnas go faster. Payton claims he was later conned into working on a Japanese bike, and he quickly found the demand to be endless compared to the Swedish chainsaw. Pro Circuit was born. Now, Mitch sold that dealership in 1985 to pursue the hop-up shop full-time. But before he went racing with his own team in 1991, he earned the respect of the OEMs and loyal customers. Respect he still gets today.
We've built parts for every single factory team out there. We've built stuff for, you know, American Honda. We've built stuff for Yamaha's factory. We've built stuff for Suzuki, Kawasaki, even, you know, KTM and Husky. We built stuff for every factory team.
In 1986 was the first year of the production rule, and Rick Johnson rode for Honda and won the championship running our pipe. And then pretty soon we proved that we could build stuff as good as the Japanese, and in most every single case we can build it better.
It was kind of strange, and a lot of people didn't know this. Like Yamaha in 1989 offered us their 250 factory program, you know, to take it. And I was just a little bit spooked that that was going to be too much. And I said, you know, not yet. And then Honda offered us a deal to do a 125 program, and I thought that was more, maybe a little bit more suitable in the beginning.
He didn't know it at the time, but before the 1991 season began, Payton had assembled some of the best talent available in the 125cc class. At round one, Team Peak Pro Circuit Honda debuted with matching bikes and riding gear, a uniform look he adapted from car racing. Payton later said, in case we didn't win races, I wanted our presents to be good. Well, by the end of the year, he got a lot of both.
Our first season, we won 13 of the 15 Supercrosses. I think we caught them a little bit off guard at the intensity that we did it. You know, our bikes were awesome. They were still any one of them will tell you to this day that those bikes were really pretty special.
Mitch is well aware of what matters in racing, championships and race wins. He won both with riders who came to be known as the best the sport has ever seen, namely Ricky Carmichael and Jeremy McGrath. There have been so many others, but given that track record and those two names, there's a lot of expectations on future talent. Peyton has a public persona of being demanding and intimidating towards his riders and staff.
It's not just me, you know, it's the program, you know, it's that they believe that this is a winning place, you know, and like, you just tell them, you know, man, if you come here, you've got to win, you know, you got to win. It would suck to just go to every race and lose.
Being a two-stroke specialist, Mitch has worked hard to learn the new four-stroke technology, and his endless development and testing paid off in 2005 when his Monster Energy Kawasaki team swept all 3 championships it contested. But no matter how tough Peyton can be, anyone who has ever ridden or worked for him can appreciate the work ethic and desire he puts into winning.
You know, he expects you to work as hard as he did, you know, and he's there, you know, 7 days a week. So that's definitely one thing that I took from there, is definitely to be prepared and be ready 100% every time you come to the race.
At the end of the day, he's always got your back. He's never going to sugarcoat anything. He's known for that. He just says it how it is, and I appreciate that. It's a little hard to swallow sometimes, but for the most part, deep down, you know he's got your back, and if you take care of him, he's going to take care of you, and he always has. And I don't have any doubt that'll continue.
Mitch works beside you the same amount of hours. I mean, it doesn't, like, Mitch doesn't go home. Mitch turns the lights off. And when you go out and have fun with them, Mitch also turns the lights out then too.
Yeah, you know, Mitch is, you know, an unbelievable guy as far as trying to get the best stuff. And, you know, he works hard. He has the best equipment in my eyes. And, you know, if I had to do it all over again, I would ride for him again. You know, he is the man, and he runs a great outfit.
Well, I spent 3 years at the Pro Circuit Kawasaki team, and I can tell you that's the epitome of a professional racing team in the lights class. And there's actually been talk of him starting a 250 team or a 450 team next year, and hopefully get that done.
Well, coming up, Moto number 2. What was for refreshment here at High Point Raceway prior to the start of Moto number 2. And let's go to Aaron Bates, who grabbed Grant Langston just before the parade lap.
Well, if you remember last year, it was brought down here on a mule. Grant, it seems that each and every season you start out unhealthy. Once again, coming back a true warrior. You're able to lead for a big part of that first moto. How do you make it happen each and every time?
Well, it was definitely not easy, and man, my wrist was really killing me towards the end, but every point counts, and that's what helps win championships, so that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, you just came down, you ended up getting your wrist taped once again. Have you ever completed a full season being healthy?
No, but I wish I could.
Well, hopefully it's going to happen for you this season. From this point on, feeling fit and healthy, ready to start Moto number 2.
We're ready to start Moto number 2. Take a look at the Honda starting lineup here as Alessi, the winner of heat number 1, will go to the gate first.
And Grant Langston taking a minute there before his parade lap, which is pretty rare. You know, you guys are pretty focused on trying to get a start and what they got to do in that moto, but he's part of that Pro Circuit team that's so dedicated to winning. Those guys spend 50, 60, 70 hours a week in the shop.
Start of Moto number 2, and Mike Alessi definitely did not get the whole shot that time. Instead, it looks as though the number 132, Billy Laninovich, is out in front. How long that'll last, though, is hard to say. Whoa! And that is Alessi going down. He's got a big pileup behind him there. The 25, Nathan Ramsey, the 33, Danny Smith, among others, and now Mike Alessi finally gets going again. But that's going to be tough for him to come back and win Moto number 2 here today.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he comes from the back. All of his motos so far have been hole shots or right there near the front, so he's going to have to catch these guys. Andrew Short right now making a run for it.
On the factory Honda, number 29, Andrew Short out of Murrieta, California, out front. And that certainly spread and thinned the field out quite a bit, because you know that quite a few fast riders were in the Mike Alessi area, as number 132, Laninovich, holding on to second spot still.
A lot of times when a guy goes down the first turn, you can actually put in some of your best rides. You just kind of go into recovery mode where you know you've got to get as many riders back as possible, and you know, you can turn some of your fastest lap times when you're coming back from a small crash like that.
As if there wasn't enough adrenaline just at the start alone. If you crash, it's got to be you got to be off the rev limiter for a few laps at least.
Yeah, it can't be good for your heart, that much adrenaline.
Grant Langston running in third position. There is Billy Laninovich, who got the whole shot and slipped back into second position. Short is our leader. Langston, they're short. There's Laninovich. Here comes Grant Langston. And in fourth position, it appears to be Josh Grant on the number 24 machine.
And as it stands right now, Langston's looking to get in the overall. How would that be to come back, not even sure if you're going to be able to race and win an overall?
Could happen for Grant Langston. All he's got to do is keep it together here, running in third spot, try to pick off Laninovich and then short if possible to pick up the win. We'll be hustling through the map here, trying to figure it out as we go along, and of course paying attention to where is Mike Alessi, winner of Moto number 1. Langston making a move there on Laninovich for second. Billy trying to come back on his Honda to take the spot away, but does not look like it. Grant Langston set sail now after Andrew Short. Laninovich already looking around for who's next, and it's going to be the number 24 of Grant.
Now, Billy's an amazing rider, but he just hasn't been up front enough this season, particularly in these outdoor races. He doesn't feel like he belongs yet. You can see him looking side to side and just not settling in, finding his pace, riding his own lines. If he would just tuck in, hopefully he'll get behind his teammate Grant here and just follow him. Billy's definitely got the talent to run at the front. He just needs to believe that he can.
And Matt Gerke, who was racing for 6th position, is up into 5th. Another look at this first turn situation. Alessi goes down all by himself.
Yeah, he was in 5th. You know, he was right there at the front, just lost it in that loose dirt.
And created quite a pileup. Now Ryan Villopoto again making his own job tough. Another so-so start, shall we say, for the number 51. He was able to race himself up into 2nd position in Moto 1. Let's see how he does here.
Well, Villopoto is on his way by, it looks like. He's one of those great starters, typically he and Alessi, because they're so light. These starts are plowed up deeper than Donald Trump's pockets, so the lighter kids get great starts like that.
Toyota leaderboard, the short up front.
Welcome to our hot.
David Pingree and Aaron Bates enjoying a real nice race here as Grant Langston is coming under attack from Ryan Villopoto. 2 Kawasaki's going after 3rd position right now.
And Villopoto's got some momentum going. He just caught up to his teammate Langston, so he knows he's got a quicker pace than Grant does, and he knows he's healthier than Grant, so he's on his way to the front.
Well, instead of trying to win the races in turn 1, as we're used to seeing, well, Villopoto, as you said, is a good starter. He's showing the kind of patience that Mike Alessi says he's using these days to good advantage.
Yeah, you know, like I said, this class is so stacked. There's so much talent that the results are going to mix a little bit.
Langston just a little bit off course right there, made Villopoto's job just that much easier. He goes by into 3rd position. Now he has the number 24 Josh Grant in front of him, and a little further ahead is Andrew Short. First, we're going to quickly show you how Langston lost the runner-up spot to the number 24. And then how he lost the number 3 spot to teammate Ryan Villopoto.
Yeah, Grant was just being a little more aggressive. Josh Grant, that is, where there when Villopoto got him, he just made a little mistake.
Mike Alessi back in 13th position after that tip over at the start. So he's been picking riders off 1 and even 2 at a time, but he's running out of time.
He sure is. Like I said, again, there's so many fast riders in this Lites class that to come from that far back and try to get to the front is just not even possible anymore. There's too many kids that are close to the same pace.
Ryan Villopoto is the guy moving forward in a big hurry. He has come from, well, we saw him back as far as 5th and 6th position. Now he's going after 2nd place, Josh Grant.
It's hard to say how much Grant is hurting here. He said he twisted his right foot a little bit, or his knee, in that first moto when he went down. They said he got some treatment from the Asterisk guys in between motos. He was going to come out and try to ride, and he's obviously doing a great job, but he's riding in some pain right now.
Ryan Villopoto, on the other hand, really has the bit in his teeth. He's been passing riders all moto long, and he did it in the first moto as well. So he's just stalking Josh Grant right now. You get the feeling that as fast as he's come forward, he's likely to make this pass.
Yeah, it's great. When you catch a guy from that far back, you know you're going faster than him. And it just adds to your confidence that you're going to get him, you can get him, and pretty soon I imagine he'll start trying to make a pass here.
It's not that far forward to Andrew Short, the race leader, either, and I would not put it past Ryan Villopoto to be able to get both positions the way he's riding here today. He's right on the back wheel now, Josh Grant, and it seems as though it may just be a matter of a few more moments, and Grant's already looking back. That usually spells the beginning of the end, and indeed, here goes Villopoto right by him.
And Grant might just be, you know, if he's hurting that bad, he might just be wanting to save whatever position and points he can get. He's not going to fight Villopoto that hard. It looked like he didn't really race him into that turn. He kind of said, all right, you caught me. I'm just going to follow you now, and hopefully I can hang on to third, which would still be a great finish for him.
Ryan Villopoto now up into second position, and he has never looked back one time during this moto or the one before it. He's only looking forward, and forward is Andrew Short. We go back a little bit deeper in the field right now as we see Laninovich, the early hole shot leader, and racing along with him is
Martin Davalos.
Davalos, who we saw go down in moto number 1, the Ecuadorian rider who's training with Millsaps down in Georgia. So Davalos into 6th position now to Star Racing Yamaha. So this young rider from South America is having a good time in AMA motocross.
He's had a great season so far. I don't think anyone knew this kid's name before this year, and he got a podium in Supercross, and you see him running inside the top 10 at these nationals, and I don't know if anyone's ever heard of a rider from Ecuador before.
He just jumped right past the number 132 of Billy Laninovich right there and kept on going into 6th position. Davalos, now we go back to the front, and here is Short and Villopoto just like that. Ryan Villopoto has caught the leader. Let's see if he's able to put a pass on or whether he runs out of time. Way up high on the berm right there. Great drive off that corner.
You can see how far he launches off that jump. He's been doing that every lap, and it's tough on your ankles and wrists landing that hard every lap, but he's probably, you know, picking up a half second there every single lap.
Well, he's closed right behind the number 29 of Short now, so this is a true battle for the lead. Ryan Villopoto currently in 2nd position on his Kawasaki behind Short.
And Short's actually had moto wins and race wins before in the Nationals. Ryan hasn't. He's never won a moto. He's never won an overall. So for him, there's a lot of incentive here to get this win.
Andrew Short, of course, coming off a win at the end of the season in Vegas.
That's right, and this moto win would give Villopoto the overall.
Absolutely. Doing the quick math here, 1st and 2nd, nobody's going to beat that. Michael Essie, the winner of moto number 1, is way back right now. Up just knocking on the door of the top 10 as we speak. Here goes Ryan Villopoto. Can he make the pass right here? Side by side with Andrew Short. Jumps in the air, looks back at it. That's the way you like to get it done.
I used to hate it when guys would peek over at me off a jump like that and look at me when they pass me.
Here comes Andrew Short trying to get it back, though. We'll see. Well, a very, very good race here at the end of moto number 2. Ryan Villopoto has taken the lead away from number 29, Andrew Short, and holding on to it for the moment. Not much of a lead, however, and Short could still take advantage of a small mistake if Villopoto makes one.
Yeah, Shorty's not going to let him go, and he's in good shape. He's going to run right with him to the end, I would imagine. I mean, he's going to pick up the lines where Villopoto's a little quicker and try to just hang with him to the end, see if he can make a move to get him back.
Well, how exciting is it for Ryan Villopoto? As you said, has never won a moto, much less an overall, and he's in position here to do both. Is he going to geek up it all on us, or is he going to hold on?
Well, this kid's been solid all year long. He came out and impressed in Supercross, and you know, all the races that he's done so far. I think he's exceeded his expectations of everyone by quite a bit. So I don't see why he wouldn't do that today.
Michael Essie, winner of moto number 1, taking the number 8 position right now, moves him not good enough, of course, to take an overall win. But Michael Essie has really moved forward as well. Probably a little bit of a test for the young man who's used to racing from the front, not up from behind.
He's still showing a lot of patience, a lot of maturity for his age. You know, not doing anything radical and crashing and finishing 18th. You know, he's working his way inside the top 10, and he's going to get some good points today.
Another look at the pass that he puts on the number 132 hole shot leader Billy Laninovich.
Well, Billy's an amazing rider, but it's got to be ego-crushing to have a guy who crashed in the first turn come back and catch you and pass you around the outside coming into a turn where you're controlling the inside line.
Ryan Villopoto looking very relaxed out front and has that thing wide open as he continues to now extend his lead on the last lap over Andrew Short. And indeed, it looks as though Ryan Villopoto will get his historic first moto win and the first overall to go along with it.
he's got a great program put together. His family backs him 100%. He's working with Randy Lawrence, who is actually an old mechanic of mine that's gotten into training riders, and he is a riding coach and trainer to Ryan Villopoto, also Nick Way. And they go riding together, they work on fitness, they cycle together, and it's just done great things for Ryan's confidence and his just knowing he can come out and win these motos.
And knowing that he is able to maintain the standard of excellence set at Pro Circuit by Mitch Payton that we heard about. Yeah, I'd say that Ryan Villopoto is going to stand in that long line of talented riders that have ridden for Mitch Payton and his group. Here is Andrew Short, a number 29 machine, running in second position right now. He's done his work and hopefully can hang on for that one, as Villopoto still taking lappers out on the final lap as he finally begins to celebrate just a little bit because he has enough of a lead to do so.
He's got to be excited. You know, he looks like he's about 12 years old, so it'll be interesting to see how excited he is up on the podium.
There's the checkered flag, and it is official. Ryan Villopoto with a double arm pump in the air as he goes over the last jump, has taken his first moto win to go along with a first overall. And yes, the Monster Energy Pro Circuit guys are going to come over there and congratulate him one after the other.
And this has got to be particularly sweet for Villopoto, who's had a little battle going on with Alessi since they were amateur kids racing together. So that rivalry continues. You see Alessi shaking his head. But Villopoto's there celebrating with Randy and his family and mechanic and team. It's a great day for him.
Well, Mike Alessi probably thinking, what if I hadn't tipped over there? I might have another overall win in 4 motos in a row. But instead, it's Ryan Villopoto over Andrew Short and the rest of the results. We take a look at our Suzuki Moto results board here from Moto number 2. And it's time now for our Honda highlight. Wow, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, buckle up, because here we go. This is the pass Josh Grant made on Gosselaar for the lead early in the moto. Grant goes down later, twists his knee. That's after Gosselaar had already hurt his ankle. Then here you see Grant Langston lose it in a turn. There goes the lead. There you see Josh Grant stay in his shorts, lets Ryan Villopoto sneak by. So the lead just keeps changing all moto long. Grant here makes another pass back on Villopoto, so he's back into the lead. But Ryan doesn't stop there, eventually gets him back, makes the pass on Short, gives him a little look there, revs the throttle at him, and he cruises to his first national moto win and overall win.
And there it is. The overall results with a 2-1 finish goes to Ryan Villopoto. And second place to Josh Grant. Third to Mike Alessi. Hats off to him. Let's go to Aaron Bates.
I got a great start, but in the second turn, I tagged Josh Grant's back wheel and went down and came back from 38th to 8th. I mean, it's salvage what I could. That's what they say, you know, you salvage the points you can on your bad days. And
well, a Racer X hole shot was an interesting one here for moto number 2. It was not Mike Alessi. And instead, it turned out to be the number 132, Billy Laninovich, out front briefly.
Taped my ankle before the second moto, and it actually went numb. It was tingling the whole time, so I knew the quicker I got off the track, the quicker it'd, you know, feel better. So we took the tape off, and it's starting to swell up a little bit, but I'm all right.
Take a look at the overall point standings here. Mike Alessi by only 8 over Ryan Villopoto, so the winners of both weeks are now the top 2 in the points standings. Let's go once again to Aaron Bates with what has to be a happy winner.
Ryan Villopoto picking up his very first pro national. Ryan, you made it happen. Can you believe it? Actually happened on only your 5th national ever.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's really hot out and the track's rough, so it's just feel real weak out there, but you just got to keep pushing through it. And you know, I just actually both motos I got bad starts and just kind of worked my way up. And first moto I got a little lucky with 2 of the guys going down and going into second. But the second moto I got another bad start and just kind of worked my way up and passed Andrew for the lead and just kind of left him.
Well, there was the celebration during this one, so we'll always remember his first, and I'm sure he will as well.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if he was just exhausted there on the podium or if he was actually scared to look at Aaron Bates. I wasn't sure.
We'll ask him when week number 3 comes up, and that will be, we'll have a week off, and then we'll come back here on OLN TV. For Aaron Bates and for David Pingree, I'm Brian Drever. We'll see you there.